Hi, welcome back, fellow artists and art fans. For those of you visiting for the first time, Anne from Anne and Lorenc Art. So this is the first of the King Solomon's knot tutorials. I'm going to be doing the basic knot today. If you are looking for the using the grid version, I have a link to that one below. Feel free to pause this video or slow it down or speed it up where you need to, and make sure that you have a piece of paper and something to draw with, pencil, eraser, and you can pause this while you go grab it. Okay, all set? Let's go. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to block out your 4 corners for the King Solomon's knot. So what I'm doing here is I'm blocking out the top left corner, and then here I'm kind of checking, making almost like a triangle, just to make sure the lines kind of line up about where I want. Now I'm going to do the upper right corner. Same thing, trying to keep the lines roughly even to what I did on the other side. Now, if you really want to, you can use a ruler to do this. Here I am doing the, you're going to do the bottom right corner now. You can use a ruler, but sometimes I find with rulers, they can throw off your lines a little bit, depending on the type of pencil or marker or pen that you're using. So you can play around with that, but I did want to be able to show you guys that you can definitely do Celtic design without any tools at all if you want to. So you should never feel like you can't do it just because you don't have the tools available. Okay, so I'm including this, I'll have this drawing on the left side of the screen so that you can see which corners I'm referencing as we go through mapping out or putting in the skeleton of the King Solomon's knot. Okay, so this first line is going to come to connect corner A to corner D, and you're going to leave a little bit of space, like a little break between the line. So now I'm connecting G to B, but putting, so, and then F and C are going to connect. Again, leaving spaces for the over-under. And now H to E you're going to do, and then just finish filling in that, and like you can adjust as you need to. If you need to erase, that's perfectly fine. G to B again, and then just finishing off that E to H. So then you just neaten up anything that you need to, and that's the basic skeleton. And then now once you have that blocked in, you can start expanding the ribbons to give them a little bit more dimension. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a typical double ribbon. So basically what that means is I'll have a line on either side of the central line, and eventually you can do some pretty cool stuff with that, which I'll show you in a later video. But for now, it just kind of helps a little bit with blocking out your knot as well. So I'm gonna try to keep about the same thickness that I did for the outer part of the ribbon for the inner ribbon as well. And then again, now I'm going to come in for this side, and I'm going to bring my line up so it roughly matches with the edge of the first side that I did. I'm going to continue down this corner, and then again, just doing that outer line for that top right corner. And you can see sometimes you do need to adjust it, and that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with having to erase and put another line in. So now I'm going to do the inner ribbon here on that top right corner, and then now I'm going to work on the bottom right corner. So again, lining that up. And then this is why I always do the outer corner, the outer part of the ribbon before I do the interior, so I can try to make sure that I keep as close to that square shape as I can in this case, and then work on the interiors. And then again, you can adjust if you need to the where the lines would meet up. And now I'm just going to do that final corner here, just like that. That's the outside, and then I'll do the inside, and by the time that inside is finished, you should have your completed King Solomon's knot. We'll just see it all come together here. And that final line, now you can see like I had a little bit too much space, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to just extend those lines, nice and simple. And there you have it. There's your King Solomon's knot. And what we're going to do now is, so once you have the outline drawn there, then I like to outline it in black as well. It just kind of makes a nice little finish to it here. So I'm just going to finish that off, outline the whole thing in black. I forgot to mention this pen that I'm using here. This is a Faber-Castell Pitt Artist pen. It's the bullet point tip 1.5. Okay, so here's your finished outline of the King Solomon's knot. Now you can leave it like that, or I like to add, in this case I'm going to add some color, and I'm going to use red and green so that I can just show you the pathway for the two separate ribbons that make up this interlace. So right now I'm going to do this first one in red, and then I'll do the other one in green, and then this way you'll be able to see the how the path, like where each loop connects. Now, of course, if you are doing this at home, you do not have to use red and green to color in your King Solomon's knot. You can use whatever colors or whatever patterns that you'd like. At another point, I will maybe do another video on different ways that you can put in patterns and colors, but you can, feel free to experiment with whatever colors and patterns you want to try doing with your King Solomon's knot. And yeah, I'd love to hear about it in the comments, like how you did, what color combinations worked for you. Okay, so this is the finished King Solomon's knot, where you can see the two different ways the patterns go. Usually a lot of times when I do these, I actually have the same colors, but again, just to show. So now I'm going to finish it off a little bit more if you want to put a little bit of added finish to it. So I'm going to block off the, connect the two sections here. That's going to eventually be filled in with black. And then you can go back and outline around, and then this is a great way if you had anywhere where your maybe your edges were a little uneven, you can kind of hide it with the black a little bit, and put that in. And then once you have all four sides done, and you can create an outer border as well, because if you're going to color in the if you're going to fill in the inner part, I feel like it kind of needs a border, but you don't have to. Again, this is just some additional things that you can do. Also, just as an added tip, if you, when you're drawing a straight line, if you're drawing up, it will help your line stay straighter longer. You can also brace your, arm over your other hand. I'm not doing it here, but sometimes I will use that. So then now that I have those lines in, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my my artist pen again, that same Faber-Castell one I was using before, the bullet tip 1.5, and I'm just going to go ahead and fill in all the central areas with black. There you have it. That's the completed King Solomon's knot. And then final thing to do is just go ahead and sign your name. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you found it helpful, please hit that like button and leave me a comment. Let me know what you found most helpful. Remember to subscribe so that you can be notified of more tutorials both in this series and future series. And again, I'm Anne from Anne M. Lorenc Art, and until next time, happy adventuring in art. Bye!